what if I told you the most overlooked character from The Big Bang Theory suddenly became the last hope of the entire universe? Not Sheldon, not Leonard, not Howard, not even Raj. The fate of reality falls into the hands of Stuart Bloom, the shy, awkward owner of the comic book store. And within minutes, the world as we know it is gone. But here's the crazy part. This isn't just another sitcom spinoff. It's a full-blown multiverse adventure packed with post-apocalyptic chaos, alternate realities, hidden mysteries, and shocking twists that completely change everything fans thought they knew about the Big Bang Theory universe. The very first scene tells us this isn't the Pasadena we remember. Gone are the familiar apartments, the university, the cozy comic book store filled with friendly debates. Instead, the city looks like it has survived the end of the world. Buildings are damaged, the streets are nearly empty, everything feels abandoned. Even before anyone says a single word, the atmosphere tells us something terrible has happened. It's immediately clear that this series isn't interested in repeating the formula of the Big Bang Theory. Instead of beginning with a joke, it begins with mystery. And that's exactly what makes it so interesting. Rather than asking us to laugh first, the episode wants us to ask questions. How did the world end? What happened to everyone? Why is Stuart still here? Those questions become the driving force behind the entire episode. Ironically, one of the few places still standing is Stuart's comic book shop. For longtime fans, this is more than just a familiar location. Throughout the Big Bang Theory, the comic shop represented imagination, fandom, and escapism. Now, surrounded by destruction, it almost feels like the last reminder of the old world. Even in the middle of an apocalypse, people still gather there. And that tells us something important about Stuart. He isn't a warrior, he isn't a scientist. He's simply trying to preserve a small piece of normal life in a completely broken world. That instantly makes him a very different kind of protagonist. Unlike Sheldon, whose intelligence often solved impossible problems, Stuart survives through persistence. He's ordinary. And sometimes, ordinary people make the most interesting heroes. Although the world has become incredibly dangerous, the show never forgets its comedic roots. One of the first conversations inside the shop isn't about survival, it's about comic books. Two customers argue whether Hawkeye deserves a place among Earth's mightiest heroes. For longtime superhero fans, it's exactly the kind of ridiculous debate you'd expect inside a comic shop. Then, the disagreement turns violent. The sudden shift from harmless nerd culture to brutal survival immediately establishes the show's unique tone. The humor is still there. It's just wrapped inside a much darker world. Instead of pretending nothing has changed, the writers use familiar Big Bang Theory humor to highlight just how broken this universe has become. It's funny, but also unsettling. Another detail quietly appears throughout these opening scenes. Strange glowing tears have opened in space itself. They're not just visual effects, they're clues. These mysterious fractures suggest reality is unstable. The laws of physics no longer behave the way they're supposed to. Without explaining everything immediately, the episode plants the central mystery right in front of us. Something has damaged the universe itself. And whatever caused these fractures, it's far bigger than an ordinary apocalypse. Just when Stuart thinks life can't become any stranger, someone walks into the comic shop. At first glance, everything seems normal, until Stuart realizes he's staring at himself. Not a twin, not a clone, another Stuart. This is one of the episode's smartest moments because it instantly changes the genre. Until now, viewers might assume they're watching a post-apocalyptic comedy. But the appearance of another Stuart confirms something much bigger is happening. This is a multiverse story. The alternate Stuart doesn't waste time. He knows exactly who Stuart is. He knows what's happened. And he brings a warning. The ruined world around them isn't inevitable. It can still be prevented. But only if Stuart was willing to do something no one ever imagined he'd have to do. Save reality itself. One of the reasons this premise works so well is because Stuart never wanted to be a hero. He's confused, nervous, and completely out of his depth. That's exactly what makes him relatable. If this mission had been given to Sheldon, viewers would expect him to solve it. If Leonard received it, we'd assume he'd eventually figure things out. But Stuart? He doesn't even believe he's the right person. And that's the beginning of every great underdog story. Heroes aren't always chosen because they're the strongest. Sometimes they're chosen because they're the only ones left.
Before disappearing, the alternate Stuart reveals the truth. Years earlier, brilliant minds connected to Caltech built an experimental quantum device. The invention was supposed to push science forward. Instead, it broke reality. Now countless versions of the universe exist alongside one another, and the walls separating them are beginning to collapse. The only hope lies inside the very machine that caused the disaster. But before Stuart can learn exactly how to fix it, the alternate version of himself begins fading away. His message becomes fragmented. His final instructions are lost. And just like that, the only person with the answers disappears, leaving Stuart with nothing but questions.
As the story moves forward, one thing becomes clear. This isn't really about saving the universe. It's about Stuart discovering who he really is. Throughout The Big Bang Theory, Stuart was usually treated as the unlucky guy. His business struggled, his relationships rarely worked out, and he constantly lived in the shadow of Sheldon and the others. Here, that changes. Instead of making Stuart an action hero overnight, the writers keep him exactly as we remember him, awkward, nervous, and full of self-doubt. Ironically, that's what makes him so relatable. Another interesting change is Denise. She's no longer just the comic shop employee. The apocalypse has transformed her into someone capable of surviving in a dangerous world, showing how different people adapt when everything familiar disappears. The episode also hints that every alternate universe reflects a different version of its characters. That idea opens endless storytelling possibilities and keeps viewers wondering who might return next. But the biggest question still remains. Can Stuart really save realities built by geniuses far smarter than he is? One of the episode's biggest surprises is the return of Raj. Instead of simply bringing him back for nostalgia, the writers use him to raise the emotional stakes. Raj represents hope. He's one of the few people capable of understanding the science behind the damaged quantum machine, making him essential to the mission. His brief appearance also reminds fans why they loved the original series. Even after years away, Raj still brings warmth and humor to every scene. Then everything changes. His sudden death sends a clear message to the audience. This series isn't afraid to take risks. Whether viewers agree with that decision or not, it immediately makes the multiverse feel dangerous and unpredictable. Barry Kripke also receives a surprising transformation. Instead of being comic relief, he's reimagined as someone consumed by power. His choices raise an interesting question. If rebuilding reality means losing everything you've gained, would you let the world stay broken? That moral conflict gives the episode far more depth than a typical sitcom. The ending introduces perhaps the biggest mystery of all. After another jump between realities, everything appears peaceful again. The destroyed city is gone. People seem happy. Life looks normal. But appearances can be deceiving. The glowing implants hidden on everyone's neck suggest this new universe has its own disturbing secret. Instead of answering every question, the premiere wisely creates new mysteries. Who controls this reality? What do the implants actually do? Can Stuart ever return to his original universe? Or has the original timeline already been lost forever? These unanswered questions give the series momentum going into episode 2. Overall, Stuart Fails to Save the Universe isn't trying to replace The Big Bang Theory. It's expanding its world in a completely different direction. By blending comedy, science fiction, mystery, and multiverse storytelling, the series creates something that feels familiar while also taking unexpected risks. If the writers continue exploring new realities with the same creativity, this could become one of the franchise's most original spin-offs. What do you think? Did episode 1 surprise you? Was Raj's fate the right decision? And what do you think those mysterious green implants really mean? Let us know your theories in the comments below.